Welcome. We're gonna be talking ceramics and cleaning them. Yay. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name's Amanda. I am a small reseller. I currently sell on eBay, Niknax, as well as Whatnot. Every Saturday evening at 7 p.m. I go live on Whatnot and do a vintage live sale. There's links in the description for that. Feel free to come. Everybody's welcome. Come on over, hang out, enjoy Saturday night. You can just watch the show, or you can join in the chit chat, or you can join in the bidding, whatever. Come out and have a good time with me. The other links that I have available in the description of the video are for my eBay and Niknax stores. So if you have not checked those out, please go do so. Okay guys, so in my last video, I kind of went over and showed you a bunch of the pottery, vases, planters, all those kinds of things that I am going to be getting cleaned up. I ran out of storage room while filming this video last time, so I decided, since we already had footage for a thrift, I would finish that up on that video and then we'd come back to this. So I did get a couple of these Hager, and I'm sorry, the light's going to be crazy because the sun is in and out, but these Hager vases, and you can kind of see like that scaling on there. And I may try to remove a little bit more of that. I may not. It doesn't really affect the piece. It's just from use, but it's kind of like, like hard water stains. That's kind of what that's like. So here's another version of that planter. This one has the grape harvest, I guess, or whatever you'd call it on there. But they're both done in this drip green agate. Okay, so out of all our pieces here that we have pulled out, to get cleaned up, I've so far pulled out a few. This one here was a thrift store find pickup. Hopefully that little bit of permanent marker that's on there comes right off without a problem. And then I pulled out this one, this Hager one. It does have a sticker still on the bottom, so we will get it cleaned up without hurting that sticker. This was the cup we picked up Monday, I believe, and you can see kind of those scratch spoon marks down there. We're going to see if we can get those out, and then I'll show you the easiest method that I use to get these stickers off. First, I want to read you a few things out of this book. Real quick, I just wanted to read through a little bit of this because this book has a lot of really good information in it. They set it up like question and answer style. So here's the question. I've bought a set of tea plates, some of which have a fine tracery of cracks over the surface and blotchy marks on the pattern. What is the cause, and is there any remedy? So then they go on to explain that the glaze on the china, the crazing, is due to extreme heat and poor condition. That once the glaze is damaged with the crazing, water and other things can slip underneath it, and that's what will cause the staining around the cracks. Here they go on to say, there's no way of resealing the glaze, so you may find the crazed plates continue to acquire stains if you use them regularly. But it's a shame to banish them to the display cabinet if they are otherwise sound. First, soaking the plates overnight in bleach may reduce the staining. Then, to tackle any dark lines along the cracks, soak a piece of cotton wool, absorbent cotton, in peroxide and dab at the cracks. For stubborn marks, leave it on the cracks overnight. Don't use bleach or peroxide on plates with decorated luster gilding, however, as these embellishments won't stand up to such an aggressive cleaning. Okay, so in the book, they offer a couple suggestions on how to go about that. I do similar, if not the same methods, but I only go that extreme when absolutely necessary. For me personally, I like to get the piece as cleaned up with the least amount of effort required on my end to make it look good. And that's not because I don't want to spend the time on it. It's because some people have different opinions and preferences in their vintage and antiques. Whether they're getting them for display or for use makes a difference sometimes. But some people like the wear and tear on a piece. They enjoy appreciating the history of it. Other pieces that they're looking for to actually be able to utilize, they want in pristine condition, you know. But regardless, I want to get it to the point that I can safely, that I feel comfortable with, and then I sell it. And if whoever buys it wants to do further things with it, that's a-okay by me. That's absolutely fine. That's their preference. That's their choice. But I just want to try to make things look nice for their photos. The other thing I want to mention is I don't try to always go over the top with really trying to get all the staining out from crazing or things like that, because I feel like that makes it look like I'm trying to hide crazing or whatever other damage or whatnot, you know. So for example, like this piece with all this, whatever this brown stuff is, I don't know. It's not part of the glaze. I will get whatever I can of that off, and whatever won't come off with a reasonable amount of effort, you know, I will leave on there. You know, I rarely ever truly just soak things, especially when they have original stickers. That kind, you know, like the stickers are gonna come off, so you just soaking isn't always the answer, you know. So I personally, I know, like I said before, you can go online and you can find endless amounts of different methods, ways, blah, 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 that you can clean things, fix things, yada, yada. But again, I'm not restoring, I'm not repairing, I am not rebuilding. I am simply cleaning it up so that it presents well to sell. That is all I'm trying to do. And what a buyer wants to do with it from there is a-okay by me. But I never want to make people think like, you know, I'm trying to cover something up or hide some defect or something like that. You know what I mean? I thought I'd throw that in there as well. So I've got our few pieces here we'll kind of go over. I wanted to quickly, in case you didn't see the prior video, go over some of the basic tools that I use. And a couple of these weren't in that video, so again, that's why I brought them with me now. So I typically use distilled water. Hi, Theodore. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, so hi, Bubba. You're getting stuck in my cord. All right, go on, go lay down. I use distilled water because allegedly it should have no additional minerals and whatnot in it that could potentially affect your piece, okay? As compared to, say, like your tap water. I'm not saying that using tap water is the worst thing in the world. I'm just saying there's minerals and things in there that potentially could affect your piece. So just something to keep in mind. I have a couple scraping tools. This one here is technically a woodworking tool. I sharpen it every once in a while, but I occasionally will use it for things like, you know, getting stickers or something off. This one here, this is one like for your cooktop stove. Same idea, scraper, you know, as needed, okay? I don't use those terribly frequently. The tools I use most frequently are probably these ones here. For sure this. For dusting off, I suggest getting a paintbrush, soft bristled paintbrush. This one here is roughly 3/4 of an inch wide. I'd say get them in a few different sizes. Get this size and smaller so you can get into those smaller crevices. I use a toothbrush for a lot of washing, especially on intricate little parts, places that are hard to get into. A toothbrush works well. This kind of falls in line in that same idea, just in an, you know, if you can't fit like the toothbrush head in there or for some reason the paintbrush, you know, then I use this guy here, and you can straighten this out, you can bend this, it works really well, especially for things like vases. I also use a scrubby. It has a handle, but I often pull it off and just use it by hand as well. But this is excellent for getting down in vases and everything also. I keep a bamboo stick. They're roughly about 1 foot long. It's like a giant toothpick, but it allows you to get into crevices and whatnot. And then I keep some smaller ones. I keep a black light around in order to look at pieces to potentially identify any damage or repairs. Barkeeper's Friend. If you are not familiar with it, it is not very expensive and it is an excellent product. So it contains oxalic acid. So that's your primary thing right there. It gives its sort of bleaching properties. So it can be a very good product to use. It's also kind of gritty. So it gives you a little more to work with as far as on a little bit tougher projects that need a little more grit to get stuff moving. I also will often use baking soda. Baking soda is another one that is good for like scrubbing and stuff. Occasionally, I also use distilled white vinegar. It's a good disinfectant. It is also good at getting into crevices and cleaning things out and stuff like that. I'm sure that these are, for the most part, products you have at home on the ready. So let's get started. I also want to mention I use a soft dishcloth of some kind. Just make sure it's soft, guys. That's the main thing, okay? And then have a clean, dry dish towel or something nearby, because you will need that as well. I have brought up also my measuring tape. I've brought up my little booklet that I write the info on my pieces down, and I brought my scale down so we can weigh them kind of as we go here. The primary thing I'm going to be focusing on in this video is really just showing you some methods of kind of cleaning up. Okay, so let's pour a little distilled water into here. Oh, I forgot one thing. A little bit of soap. Okay, I typically would recommend Castile soap. It is a soft, mild detergent. However, I currently do not have any, and so I'm just going to use a couple drops of Dawn dish soap, which is still also mild and should work just fine. So I'm gonna just put a couple small drops in there, and that will do it. We'll kind of stir this all around in here. So things like on stickers, right? And I hope the light works. The sun keeps going in and out, guys. So my lighting is just, it's gonna be horrible. But anyway, so on stickers, I like to just get them wet. This, technically, I could just set in the sink and soak it. You know, it's a bowl. It's not gonna hurt it. For the purposes of this video, I'm showing you this method because that's not the case with all pieces, right? You know, we get a lot of pieces that you can't just soak the whole thing. So I will do this. I will kind of rough up the edges of it, really just try to soak that sticker good. Whoops. And then I will set it off to the side and let it think about life for a moment, and we'll come back to it in a second. Next, let's look at this piece. All right, this is another one that, you know, technically I probably could soak it if I wanted to, and all this would come off super easy. All these little spots of crud, I don't know what it is. But the problem is this has its original sticker on the bottom. That's important. I would have no idea, honestly, that this was a Hager piece. It just doesn't have any of their, it's a very plain piece for Hager. You know, I'm used to their drip glazes and just the fancier things they do. So for me, keeping that sticker on there is important, right? So I don't want to just soak it, but there is some dirt down on the inside too. So what I'm gonna do is get my rag wet and wring it out really, really, really good. Let me lay this out here. Let's get down and dirty here. All right, so my rag I've gotten completely wet. I've wrung it out. You should really be able to wring out very little, if any, water, guys. You don't want your rag dripping, okay? We're protecting our sticker while we're also trying to clean this up. One other thing I forgot to bring down, clearly didn't prepare very well, but Q-tips. I keep Q-tips. I need to order some like longer ones. Those would probably be great, but keep Q-tips around too. Those often come in handy. So just add that to your toolkit arsenal. So I've used my ever so lightly damp rag to go around and clean this bad boy. And I mean, he shined right up. Even the base and the sticker's still there. I did notice he has this like dark scratch. It's not even a scratch. It's more like it rubbed on something. And I'm gonna see if I can get that off. So I think first I wanna try using maybe just a tiny bit of baking soda on it. So I'm gonna pour a little bit, just a tiny bit of distilled water in my little jar here. And then another little bowl, add a little dash of baking soda there. Okay, I'm just gonna get the tip of this wet, wring it out. I'm just applying a dash, you know, of baking soda on here. So here's this little mark. Okay, so we went from having that dark gray, not scratch, but you know, like I said, like it had brushed against something, you know, like it had picked up the paint of something else. And that's pretty well gone. You can just barely, I don't even know if the camera will show it to you. So we'll just say it's gone. And then down here, I noticed there was another tiny little like dark mark. Can't really feel it or anything. It's not a scratch. It may just be where I can't do anything about it. I did try a little scrubbing with the baking soda on it. It lightened it a little bit, not much. I'm gonna leave it be. It's otherwise in great condition. No chips, no cracks, no crazing. It is a really cool vase. I like how simple it is. You know, it's not an overstated piece, but it's like, it's just enough that like a good pop of color. And then I like the shape they did here to sort of fan the flowers out. I think this would look really, really cool and be an awesome statement piece. Nice vintage Hager piece. Okay, so let's check back in on our sticker here and see what kind of progress we're making. Seems like it's coming up pretty nice. Let me grab my little scraping tool here. I can still tell towards the middle there's some resistance. There we go. Set that guy there. Perfect. Now let's just get this wet. Woo-wee, look how dirty that water was already getting. Wringing out that rag from cleaning off that Hager vase, man. Now I will actually wash these bowls like regular wash them, but this purpose is just about getting whatever gunk is off there. All right, perfect. Let's dry you off, buddy. I love this pattern. It's called Strawberry. I don't know if I mentioned that before. I think I put it in the other video. But it's just, it's a simple, dainty pattern. If I had to guess, I think these are probably 70s just based on the colors alone. But I have to look up the mark and tell you. On Metlocks, Poppy Trail by Metlocks in California, you can date a lot of their stuff by their marks. So that's helpful. So especially when you get a set of dishes like my, what's it called? Like Green Rooster or whatever, that pattern that I have by them. There's some pieces that have slightly different marks on the back, and so you know that they weren't originally purchased all together in the same set. So as pieces, you know, get broken over the years, people pick up new ones and replace them. So that's how you wind up with newer version with an older version in the same setup. Okay, so now looking at this Starbucks mug, you hopefully can see on here, you know, like these gray marks. There's no chips, there's no cracks, there's no actual damage to it, but you can see it, you know, it's like stirring marks in the bottom there. So what I think I'm gonna do with this guy first is maybe a little baking soda and vinegar together, and let's see what happens. Inside my cup, I'm going to put a little bit of baking soda down in there. I don't really measure it. I just put, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon or two worth down there. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of vinegar. And you wanna be careful as you do this because you will notice a little bit of a chemical reaction going on in there. And that's okay, that's what we're wanting. And then we will come back to our experiment and see. It may not do anything. Our next step will be trying some Barkeeper's Friend on it. I just like to try this first. Okay, so I poured us some fresh distilled water, added a couple of drops of dish soap again. Our toothbrush is chilling in there. We've rinsed out our rag as well. Very good. So yesterday evening, I had cleaned this guy up. I mean, so he's overall, I could go ahead and list him this way. I just want to see if I can get some of this like scaling right here. Now, I'm not going to lose sleep over this. I'm just going to try a little bit of Barkeeper's Friend on it and see what it does. Let's find out. All right. Wet my sponge. Then I need to dump a little bit of this. I'm going to do it over the trash. So Barkeeper's Friend does come in a liquid version. And you can certainly try that. It may work great for you. I have personally just found over the years that the powder version I don't know why, it just seems to work better. So that's usually what I do. So we're looking a lot better. I can barely still see some right here, so let's do a little bit more. There have been some items that I have let it sit on and given it a little time to kind of, you know, like activate, do its thing. But it depends on the piece, guys, because it's not bleach, but it will bleach, okay? So I'm not worried about it on this part. This is a glazed piece. I'm not worried about it bleaching the green or affecting the glaze on it. Let's see how we're looking. Oh, by golly. By golly Jiminy Christmas. All right. Awesome. So I can just ever so faintly, hardly see it now. It is absolutely beautiful. Again, this one here is what they call this, the paneled version. It's kind of, you know, it's got the green agate drip glaze, but, and I don't know how well it'll show you in the video, but the green itself kind of has like an oil slick kind of look to it, you know. This one here, they called Paneled Garden, I guess, it was part of their flower club. Again, these ones were done in the 60s. This one's Hull F469, Paneled Garden. I'm wanting to look and see how we're coming along. It looks like some of those gray lines were gone and lightening up. Let's give it a little stir there. I kind of scrubbed the bottom lightly with this, and then we shall see. All right, guys, so this one here. This is part of an ashtray set. There's 4 little ashtrays inside of this box here. They all have the same design. And again, as I said in a previous video, viewer discretion is advised. There are bosoms exposed. It's a classical Greek scene. Okay, if you haven't seen bosoms, you're about to. It's just one. So, I don't know. But so they put the sticker on here, right? And then they wrote on the sticker once it was already on there. So there's just this tiny little dot of black right here. So let's get the sticker off first, okay? We're gonna take our toothbrush and we're gonna soak this. The thing I wanna talk about with this that makes this a little bit different than just like that yellow Hager vase and stuff is that this has transfer print decal. You can do damage to the gold trim and or the decal. And so you want to be very cautious and careful with the products you're using because you don't want to affect that. Now this sticker itself will probably come off pretty easy. And I think that permanent marker may even just wipe off, which would be great. Okay. There we go. Now, so when I run my hand over the decal, I mean, you can feel the decal. There is some kind of a sticker residue on here. All right, so far everything is still intact. All right, but I've wiped off on that tiny little black mark on here, if you can see right here. I've wiped at it. It hasn't come off. It has a little bit, not all the way though. So the next thing I want to try on it is with this still has a little bit of the Barkeeper's Friend. I don't want to go over the decal with Barkeeper's Friend or really even baking soda and stuff, guys. I really try not to do that. So I'm just very carefully, and it's gone. Now let's just wipe off the rest of the lid to finish cleaning it up. That little mark is gone. I mean, it took less than a second for it to remove it. If this had been bisque, I maybe would have tried first a little bit of baking soda and water, distilled water mix, and do it like as a paste even if needed. But certainly use it like a little bit on a sponge to scrub it very lightly. Or I could use a little Barkeeper's Friend, do the same like we just did here. You never want to use these methods over unglazed painted areas because again, they are going to have bleaching properties and you don't want to bleach your color, okay? There's going to be some things you're just not going to be able to get off, and that's okay. That's okay. It's part of the piece. It's part of its history. It's okay. I would probably stop at that point. I might try magic eraser on it. I really hate to use magic erasers though. I just don't like the kind of like residue they leave behind. And I sometimes almost feel like whatever's in them eats away a little bit at the bisque porcelain. And so you got to remember bisque porcelain's porous, so it'll absorb whatever's on it. And I'm not 100% sure what all they put in those things. They can work, they do work. And I will use them, but I try to use these other methods first when I can. So checking back in on our coffee mug. I don't know if you can tell, there are still some. It has lightened it up a little bit in there, but not a whole lot. So let's dump that. We've still got a little bit of our Barkeeper Friend on here. Let's get in here and see. They're almost gone. I think what I'm going to do is let some water and Barkeeper's Friend sit in here for a little bit and see what they come up with. Okay, so I've added that in. Alright guys, so it's been probably, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours since we put the bartender or barkeeper's friend in the cup here. And I'm curious what we're dealing with. Let me go empty this out. You guys will never believe this. There's still a little water left in the bottom. But they are virtually almost gone. I mean, you can hardly even see them in there. There's still just a tiny bit on the outside here that I'm gonna see if I can get to come off. But otherwise, I think that was a success. I apologize for Theodore yelling in the background. He wants to play toss the pig or something, and I don't know. Maybe Kyle's not playing well enough, so he's yelling. I don't know. All right, guys, I think I have put all the muscle into it that I am willing to. You can still faintly see along the bottom just a tiny bit of the like gray, not scratching, but whatever it is. You can still see a tiny bit down in the bottom, but barely. So I'm good with it. I'm happy with that. Who let you up here, Theodore? All right, guys, I'm gonna get busy and finish cleaning off all the rest of the vases and stuff. And if I come across any others that require some more, in-depth cleaning techniques that I could show you, I will video that for you. But otherwise, I'm gonna get busy on that. And if anybody out there has any suggestions on other ways that you like to clean up things, helpful tips and info, drop it in the comments. But otherwise, I think that's about it for this video, guys. And be sure to come check me out on Whatnot Saturday evening, 7 p.m. I will be live doing a vintage sale. So feel free to come hang out, and also go check out my Niknax and eBay stores. Links for all that are in the description of the video. I will see you on the next one.